A man who we are going to force to pick one is Blaine Fowler. Same hair since 1980. Still looks great.
Although you just got a haircut, so it's done a little differently. Do you want to go this direction?
I don't know. I came straight from getting a haircut, so I usually put a part in it, but they kind of whooshed it.
You don't like the whoosh?
I don't know.
I
don't know.
I think
I don't. I looked in the mirror. She says,
Blaine.
"Is this okay?" What do you say? Oh no, it looks terrible. No, you go like, "Yeah, that looks good."
And immediately you're thinking, I'm going to change it as soon as I get home.
I'm like, I can't change it until I wash it, so I'm going on the air with this. So
you have
I don't
little
know.
pieces of hair floating around?
No, it's like no, because they wash it after they cut it and then they style
They
it.
never get all of them.
So my problem is I couldn't do this. Like they don't even use a comb or anything. They put some stuff on their hands, and then they do this stuff, and then they go, "How's that look?"
Some mousse or some pomade.
And I go, "I don't even know how you did that." I take a comb, part it on the side, you know, a whole. I have a can of hairspray this big.
Yes, yes, almost as big as the Nokia 3310
Exactly.
phone.
So this is
Exactly.
so I can't do this look again because I don't know how.
No, it's a unique look for a unique show.
Yes, that it
Live
is.
at
It's
70
a unique show.
That it
Okay,
is.
answer our Twitter question today. Okay, we're gonna make you pick one. What do you want more in 2018? BYU hoops to win the West Coast Conference tournament, or BYU football getting back to a bowl game?
I want BYU to go back to a bowl game because they don't have to win the tournament to still get to the NCAA tournament. So I think I can have both. They don't have to win the tournament. They've got to play really, really well between now and then and maybe play in the championship game, but they could get to the NCAA tournament. And so they could do that without winning the tournament, but they need to get back to a bowl.
Blaine, you
and this
probably...
whole New Year's Six thing, yeah, that would be great.
Oh, my goodness. Oh,
Hey,
my goodness.
I can't say that without
I'll take
laughing.
7 wins. I'll take 7.
Yeah.
With that schedule and the road, come on.
And a new OC and
Yeah.
The over-under is going to be 6.5.
I'll take 7. I'd be thrilled. And then let's go win a bowl.
Does 7 include a win at Utah? Like if BYU gets 7,
Oh,
have
yeah.
to include a win at Utah?
They're going to.
They're going to.
Yeah, this is the year.
In Salt
We
Lake
all
City
hope so, right?
to
In
close
Salt Lake
out
City.
the regular
Yeah,
season.
this is the year.
Last time it came down to a 2-point conversion.
Yep, this is the year.
Oh, man.
Okay, but that's all we need to hear, man. We could end the interview now, and I'd
Hey,
be
thanks for
super
coming
happy.
on, Blaine. New haircut, big, bold prediction. We love it.
What, is Brian Logan in there? What's going on?
Okay, Blaine, we are going to focus on basketball for the next few minutes, starting with TJ Haws and his recent breakout. We mentioned last week that we feel like if he can score in double figures, really good things will happen for BYU basketball. If he can become that third guy, he does it. 10 points against Pepperdine, big win. 14 points at Santa Clara, a game you called with Dave McCann, huge win in terms of the point margin. What does TJ Haws mean to this team, and what is the standard that you would hope he has moving forward?
So double figures isn't the standard because he can score in double figures and go 3 for 10 and make some free throws and score in double figures. So to me, he needs to play the way he's played the last couple of games, where he takes good shots and he takes them confidently. Last game, to me, was a glimpse of what he can be because that's his physical capability. And I think he's struggled to embrace this, not to embrace it, but to really understand where his shots come from in this new offense. And he's, with Elijah playing phenomenally well and being 100% healthy, his role is a little bit different. And I think he finally figured it out. I saw, like in the second half of the game last week, there was a little light bulb above his head the whole time he was running up and down the floor that was just like, hey, I know where these shots are coming from. I'm feeling good about it. I asked him after the game, I said, hey, I said on the broadcast that first 3, that you knew it was in the second it left your hand because you turned around and ran down the court. And he said to me, yeah, I knew it was in. So it felt good coming off of his hand. He felt confident. So when he plays with confidence, his field goal percentage is good. And when his field goal percentage is good, that means he's taking good shots. He's taking them confidently. So we need him to score 12, 13 a game. But we need him to be 45% from the field, and we need him to shoot 40 from 3. It can't be 30% from the field and 12 from 3, because then he has to take too many shots to get to that. It takes away from the offense.
The last 2 games, he shot 47% from the field, 57% from 3, which has been fantastic. Then you have kind of the big 2. You hope it's a big 3 with TJ. Yoeli Childs and Elijah Bryant as a duo are tremendous. In the Dave Rose era, who has been close to as good as these 2 have been in your opinion?
Boy, 2 together like that? Boy, it's hard to even think of anybody because it's an outside-inside complementary thing. You know what I mean?
Maybe Lee Kamard
well,
or something.
but here's what you got. People forget that you had Jimmer and Jackson on the guard line and Brandon Davies in the post. So we don't have to go back that far because
but that's 6 or 7 years ago.
Right. So that's back a little ways. And Brandon maybe wasn't quite as athletic and maybe not dominating as much as Yoeli. But remember, the guards were dominating play right then. And so I think that combination, that outside-inside combination of Jimmer offensively, Jackson defensively, and Brandon Davies in the post, that was a pretty good crew right there. And that's a team that was, in my opinion, a Final Four talent team. And then when Davies can't play, they still end up being a Sweet 16 team. So, yeah, that's where I would go back to match up the kind of production we're getting outside and inside right now from Eli and from Yoeli inside. And it's fun to watch. They're both so athletic and do so many good things.
Blaine Fowler with us on BYU Sports Nation, dual threat analyst. Currently, we're talking BYU basketball. They have matchups at home in Provo with LMU and San Diego this week. What do you think of the approaching matchups for the Cougars in the Marriott Center?
It's interesting because they're kind of like opposites. LMU is not good defensively. They've really struggled to stop teams. They're like 200 and what are they? I wrote it down because it was so bad. 289th in the country. And scoring defense.
It's going to be a little different Saturday.
Yeah, they want to get up and down the floor. They don't defend that well, but they're really athletic. And BYU struggled against athletic guards against Pacific. They allowed them to turn the corner and get there. I feel a little bit better about that. I talked to Dave Rose this weekend at Santa Clara, and I said, was this like physically you weren't capable of staying in front of those guys? And he said, no, it was a real step backward mentally. Like they weren't in the right spots at the right time. They were late on their rotations. So it was mental and it was execution, which I went, oh, okay, good. I was glad to hear that. That you can fix. You can't fix if, no, we just don't have the quickness or the strength to stay with those guys. And so then I looked at them against Santa Clara, and they did a much better job. They were on point. They were focused. Their rotations were crisp and clean. They played really good defense. They had multiple stops in a row. And so I'm thinking, okay, so he's right. It was a mental lapse against Pacific. They took a step backward, but they took a step back forward again. So I like their ability to stay in front of LMU's guards. Very athletic team. I think they learned a lesson from Pacific that teams with good, quick, athletic players that maybe aren't so good as a team can still bite you if you don't play solid team defense. And then San Diego's the opposite. San Diego's a really good defensive basketball team, one of the best in the country, the best at defending threes in the country, top 10 field goal percentage defense. I mean, it's a top 20 scoring defense team. So they're going to be very comfortable playing at BYU's slowed down pace and defending. So the LMU game, they got to be really sharp defensively, and they've got to be assignment sound. The San Diego game, they've got to be unbelievably patient, and they got to not force bad shots. They've got to take good shots. If BYU will get it to the second side and back to the third side, even against good defenses, you'll get good shots. And so to me, that game is about being patient offensively, and then you got, Olin Carter still, you got to find the three-point shooters, and if they get hot from three, they're a problem. So they've got good guards as well, but I think that one's about patience offensively. So they're kind of opposite teams, one really bad defensively and one really good defensively, one that wants to play at pace and one that's fine playing not at pace. And so it'll be interesting matchup, two different teams completely.
San Diego game, they're just outside the top 100, so that's a good home game coming up Saturday on BYUtv. We're still awaiting the 10th assistant coach for BYU football, but what are your impressions of the offensive hires on this staff so far?
Yeah, it's a good mix. When they first announced Jeff Grimes, I thought, okay, he hasn't really been a primary play caller, and I know that he's been involved in the play calling, and he's been around great play callers, but I was waiting to see on that staff, is he going to have some guys that have a lot of experience with play calling? And he does. And so I think Aaron Roderick has had a good success and has called plays as a regular play caller. Fesi Sitake the last couple of years has been a primary play caller. Even Steve Clark has been a primary play caller. So I think he has enough people around him, and I think he's a guy that just doesn't have a huge ego. He's going to demand excellence, and he's going to demand execution. He's going to hold these guys very, very accountable. That's apparent from day one that he stepped on campus. Pugh, I can already tell you that the players are really like him. He's in that same mode. They're going to be really held accountable. And so now, if they're executing and they're being held accountable, I think Grimes is a guy that's just like, hey, what do you think here? in the situation. He'll talk to the guys up in the booth, or if he's up in the booth, he'll say, what do you think here? And they can have a consensus, and guys that have called a lot of plays can have input. I don't think his ego is so big that he thinks, I am the guy, and I'm going to call every play, and that's the way it's going to be. And so I think because of that, he'll have success. And if they can stay healthy, that would help a lot too.
Oh, yes, that huge
Keep a few quarterbacks, running backs, and tight ends healthy, and that would make a huge difference.
Good grief. This tweet
And then they could go to a New Year's 6, guys.
Put on the blue goggles.
let's-
You can't even joke about
You
that
have a
without
couple
putting the
pairs-
blue goggles
wait a
on. Can't even joke about it without the blue goggles on.
New Year's 6.
Yeah, the blinged out.
Oh, now I see it.
Now, I'm not saying it couldn't happen, but I'm just saying that.
Is it happening next year?
What's the over-under on that?
No.
Blaine Fowler with us on BYU Sports Nation. This tweet in from @Ruthie5358. She says, I'd rather go to a bowl game. Or I want a bowl game more, but then adds this, love your hair, Blaine. # BYUSN.
Here's the problem. If people like it, I don't know how to do it.
Ruth likes it.
So I'm going to have to
You
go
could
back.
talk-
I have to go back to the person that styled it
Yeah.
and get some lessons.
Yes. Does this haircut come with lessons on how to mold this hair?
To mold it.
Because it's not combing
Like,
it
I
at
don't know.
this
What's that
point.
stuff? What's
whoosh.
the stuff you put on your hands and then you do this
Could be
with it?
Pomade.
Pomade. I think she used pomade on me.
Yeah.
I don't know because I don't use
If you
that
need some
stuff.
pomade, talk to me. I got plenty.
So I don't. You guys. I don't know if you can help me redo this.
Paul
I would-
Mitchell tea tree shaping cream.
Okay. Is that what I need?
That's what.
And
That's
then
what
you
this
don't.
high roller
do you
uses.
even use a comb, or do you just like do like they do?
Mostly just with your hands.
Yeah, she just did this.
Yeah.
She just dried it, and then she put the stuff in her hands. Then she just went, and then I looked in the mirror and I go, "Hey, how did you do that?"
So Blaine, what's the pomade or the tea leaf cream or whatever for BYU football this year?
The pomade.
How are you going to answer that, Blaine?
I don't even know what pomade is, but evidently Paul Mitchell makes some.
Okay, how about this question? Most underrated assistant coach on the BYU football staff right now.
Steve Clark.
Why?
Because he is so meticulous in preparation. I think Steve Clark's a guy you can give the other team's film and say, go break this down and come back tomorrow with a game plan. And he would spend every waking moment. He'd stay up all night and he would break that thing down and he would come the next day with every tendency and a plan to attack. He's a small guy in stature, so I don't know that people understand how good a football coach he is. I don't even know if a lot of people even know who he is. But I think he is phenomenal with preparation. I think he's meticulous with what he does. And I think he's a very underrated football coach.
Great stuff, Blaine. We'll let you skedaddle on out of here.
All right,
Yeah,
guys.
you have some.
Go get that shaping cream.
Wait, is
Do whatever
Yoeli
you
coming
need.
in?
Yes, Yoeli Childs is coming in. He will join us.
Or
next.
as Dave likes to call him, Yoeli Bryant. Yoeli told us we could call him that. He told us we could. Because Dave said, one of you guys needs to get a haircut. And Yoeli's like, well, it's going to be Elijah. Because that mess needs to be cut. But they go to the same haircut guy.
Yeah.
They do go to the same haircut guy. And I don't know if they use pomade on them.
Maybe you need to go there.
Do you think they use pomade on him?
I don't know.
You have to ask Yoeli when he comes.
Okay,
ask
you
him.
can't spell Yoeli without Eli, right?
That's right.
Amen to that.